wanted to give you guys some clarification on these activities today before having you try them on your own. First activity gives you, let me just back up a little bit. We're going to be focusing on perimeters today, specifically of composite figures, which means familiar shapes making up unfamiliar shapes. So like a rectangle and a semicircle, that's a composite shape. So the first activity is practicing calculating perimeter as these shapes change. And so activity 1 says describe the pattern of the perimeters. Use your pattern to find the perimeter of the 10th figure in the sequence. And when you fill out your Google form for this activity today, this part is the only answer I'm looking for. I do want to show you guys how to use this to shortcut so you don't have to draw 10 figures that are growing, even though I know you guys can see the pattern is this one's 1 unit long, 2 units long, 3 and 4. You could duplicate that pattern and draw one that was 10 units long, calculate the perimeter, and then write in your answer. But there is a shorter way to do it if you just watch. So we can call this the first figure, the second figure, the third figure, the fourth figure. We're going to do this all the way up to the 10th figure. And we're going to treat each side of this just as 1 unit. So on that square, one side is 1 unit long. There are 4 of them. So the perimeter of that guy is 1 times 4 all the way around. The perimeter is 4. This one has 2 sides that are 2 units long. So we're going to go 2 sides times 2 units long. But we also have 1 and 1. So we're going to go plus those extra 2. Tells us the perimeter of that guy is 6. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I'm trying to find a pattern and a way that we can do it for each one of these. For this third one, it's going to be one side that's 3 units, 2 sides that are 3 units. So we're going to go 2 sides that are 3 units long, plus 2 more that make up the ends. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2, the perimeter of that guy is 8. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 units all the way around. I can continue doing this. That's one side that's length of 4, 2 sides that are length of 4. So that's 2 sides of length 4, plus 1, 2, plus 2 on the end. And the perimeter of that guy, 2 times 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10. If you were to continue this pattern, dot, 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 so that there were 10 sides, we can follow this pattern. Rather than drawing something that is 10 units long, we do know that we're going to have 2 sides. Let me do this in the same color. 2 sides that are of length 10 plus the 2 on the edge, just like we were doing on these patterns here, which means the perimeter of that guy is going to be 2 times 10 is 20, plus 2 is 22. So there are other patterns that you can identify. Going on to the next one, these do get a little bit harder, but I do want you guys thinking about the fact that this is your first, second, third, fourth. You're going to find a pattern to find the perimeter of those all the way up to the 10th. You don't need to draw 10 figures. You can, though, think about the patterns that are occurring from one to the other. So the perimeter of this guy is still just 1 times 4. That's not right. 4. There we go. And then think about what we can do here and the perimeter. Well, there are 2 sides that have length 2, so we can do that like we did before. That's 2 times length of 2. And then there's this weird little jagged spot. We're going to add those back on. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 2 times 2 plus 4 for this guy. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8. Now for the third one, it looks like we have 2 sides that have length of 3. So we can go 2 times 3. then there's a certain amount that we have to add on after that. So we add on these steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to add 6, which 2 times 3 is 6, plus 6 is 12. I'm going to let you guys do this one on your own. Figure out what is the pattern here. Figure out what is the perimeter. And then see if you can continue that pattern for when you have a shape that is 10 units long on one side and 10 units tall, and those steps in between. And then see if you can find your own perimeter. Now, this ties in everything we know about circles. Now we're taking this square that we started with in the first two activities, but now we're putting a circle on top of it. So we're taking one circle and we're splitting it into two. And so if we want to find the perimeter of this guy, we're going to have to, I duplicated this. We're going to have to find the circumference of that circle, not that line in the middle, because that's not on the outside of our shape. And remember, perimeter is always on the outside. And so what I'm looking at is, I need this distance and that distance, and that's 1 plus 1. And then I need to add this half of the circle and that half of the circle. And that whole thing is going to be our perimeter. So I need to find the circumference of that circle. Remember, make a note of here that circumference is pi times diameter. The diameter of this little circle is 1 unit. And so the circumference of this whole circle is diameter times pi, or 1 times pi. And then the perimeter of the whole thing is going to be that half of the circle, that half of the circle, which is 1 times pi. And then we need to add another 1 and another 1. So we're going to go 1 plus 1 is 2 plus pi. Now that is the perimeter of that small shape. We're going to do it again for, that was our first one, we're going to do it again for our second one. So the diameter of, if I were to take this half circle on top and this half circle on the bottom and put it together, now I want to find the circumference of that whole thing. This diameter, this guy, is not 1 unit across, but now 2 units across, which means that the circumference of that circle is, remember, it's pi times diameter, so it's going to be 2, the diameter, times pi. Now remember, I want to find that, plus that, plus that, plus that. So the top and the bottom together are 2 pi, and I need to add 1, 2. So the perimeter of this whole thing is going to be 2 plus 2 pi. And that's for our second figure. We're going to do this again for the third one. Notice the diameter for this one is 3. And so my hope is that you'll see that there's this pattern. If the diameter is 3, then the circumference is 3 times pi. And the perimeter is always that guy, plus that guy, plus that guy, plus that guy. And remember, these sides right here are always 2. So the perimeter is 2 plus 3 pi. So continue that for the fourth one. So continue that pattern for the fourth one, and then try to continue on, find what that would be for the 10th one.